I'm a so-called social media consultant, and I'm here to go for the more basic side of hacking, to get in embracing more of the sides, what you do in Germany with the Chaos Computer Club, as well as meet a lot of old friends from IOC.
So how did you begin to become the journalist?
The thing, well, it started when I was 13 with my first computer, and it got forward after that. I felt the moment I connected to the internet was the moment where I felt this is like real life, the real life I would like to have. To meet all the people, to exchange views, get more interesting conversation than just going out somewhere in town and going to a cafe or a bar and try to hook up with somebody around me, in the sense of, you have to get to know everybody. And nowadays you can read a blog or have a different exchange through that and get all the information you want to have. So over time I noticed that some of the things I actually do over and over again is like be kind of first in some of those spaces like Second Life or some social media stuff. And today I talk to people about all day long why this is interesting and why everybody should do it, so why not make a business out of it.
So you do Second Life too?
I also do Second Life. I don't do World of Warcraft, interestingly, because I hate playing games and play those quests. So if somebody can teach me how to stay in World of Warcraft and do not have to play all those games, I actually might be interested. No, that's the major drawback of World of Warcraft. In order to really have fun, you probably have to be in your guild and with your games, and all around at least have to play some of it, and I don't really like it. So yeah, I'm stuck with Second Life.
Okay. So how much do you play Second Life, and what do you think is interesting about Second Life then?
I play Second Life on a periodical basis, but I go back with my friends and go towards chatting through Skype or IRC or different emails. So it's part of, sometimes you want to go there and meet people or have like a meeting, and it's nicer to see people, look around, and sometimes also build. I suck at building, so I rather buy the stuff. So in general I would say some hours a week, but basically because I have my exchange on different ways to communicate with my friends. I'm in Second Life to push it, actually, to get other people into Second Life and perhaps even World of Warcraft, so we can move forward to the next step after that. Because today Second Life is nice, but for me it's interesting what's after that. How can we really embrace what we learn? And the presentation from Joyito we just had is like, World of Warcraft is basically about management, and it's basically about project management, how to get people together, how to get diversity into it. That's not the game playing part, but that's the step afterwards where we can go to, and I want to push that strongly.
So what else do you take interest in than Second Life?
Blogging, podcasting, the app in itself. So yeah, I'm kind of limited. No, I like those areas of expertise because they are different too. I'm not interested in gardening. I'm not interested in cooking. So I could use this thing, but I'm actually, somebody make the comparison that you have the printing press and now you have books. And there are enough people who write books or write stories. I'm more interested in the printing presses.
So do you blog?
Yes, I blog in different blogs in different languages, and also podcasts as well. You can find my English blog under crueltobekind.org. The German one would be Weißholz.de, but that's probably not what most people will actually be interested in. And one part I really do use is to take a look specifically from the European perspective towards the American side, sometimes to the rest of the world side, as in hi, we're here as well. We do have money too, but we have some different requests toward, for example, how social networks should work, how games should work. Basic example, Second Life allows me to set my time zone and set my sunshine whenever I want it, because when I'm usually there, Second Life is on San Francisco time throughout the day, basically. It's nicer and easier for me to actually be able to have the sunshine when it's sunshine here.
Right. So, do you feel that there's a difference between United States and Europe when you are talking about like podcasting or blogging, or what do you feel is different?
The main difference is the cultural diversity and the cultural background. It's interesting to see, even though we speak the same language, which is English, we have so many different backgrounds. Just take pop culture. I'm learning at the moment American pop culture to talk better to my friends, to make references, because when I make the references from my childhood, nobody else understands what it is. If we take language as a basic problem, many people I meet here are basically just speaking German. They might listen to an English presentation, but they feel uncomfortable doing in speaking English, which is kind of a silo, which holds up this whole big nation in Germany. We have 82 million inhabitants, and I don't know how many people are here over the next days, but most of them will not engage in international conversation. They will just engage in a German conversation, which is quite limited. So this is boring. And for somebody like myself who's more on the outside, on the international outside, it's like a strange country for me. This is my home country, so that's part of the problems. I would like to overcome it and initiate perhaps more contacts between outside people from Europe, from America. I don't have so many contacts in the Asian world, so the countries of Africa or South America. But if we can engage more in a conversation, especially also between the women, to how to embrace the culture and learn from the culture, learn about the diversity, that would be great. And that's my biggest interest.
Yeah, so maybe we can start a project. That would be interesting.
World of Warcraft for European players who don't really want to play games. That would be great. No, but I think one of the things we find over and over again, we see also women here, but they are already interested in the stuff which is happening here. It's about how to get all those women into the game which are not interested in like the computer stuff or the presentations. When I said it before, when I look at the presentation table here, I have to choose from the different tracks because I'm interested in most of them. If you go out and take a normal woman from the street and just show her the presentation, she will probably just go, I have no clue what you're talking about. Why should that be interesting? So perhaps we should find more projects which are more interesting to women in itself and apply that to such a conference like here. So.
Well, I personally think, maybe we shouldn't record this, but I personally think that starting something first before understanding is easier because like what I had with Warcraft.
Yes.
So Joey just told me start it.
Perhaps we have to push some of the women more towards this and don't tell, just do as we say.
Try it and you'll understand.
My favorite example of that is usually when you talk about chemistry in school, you learn about all those fancy whatever things. Why can't we start with, okay, this is nail polish and this is nail polish removal and let's just have a look and why does this work or how does this work? I assume many women would actually be interested more than just have to learn about, well, this is whatever equation and you can do that and that with it. You can make it more interesting. And I think it's part of the game to say, well, the women who are already here have to play the game and say, okay, what could be interesting to the rest of my kind to get more of them, because the diversity is interesting. And if you play World of Warcraft as Joyce, most of these lieutenants are women, I think they can bring something very interesting to the table, which most of the guys out there are missing out on. So. As we've said, the internet is the biggest dating machine, so why not get the women into the game so you can have more dates? That could be attractive for the guys.
It really doesn't have to be games though, so do you have like examples of successes other than games that like
we have with blogs. You get blogs, for example, when I have a friend of mine who's also here who started blogging. She puts cooking recipes on her blog and she blogs about her new child, which was born 11 weeks ago and is already on the CCC Congress, so she's very happy about that. But has the possibility of presenting her own child towards her father, which lives far away and couldn't have otherwise have the information of how this child grows up. Why not about knitting, about different arts projects, or this is my work, what I painted, or this is my description of my day job, of what I'm interested in. And basically when you take blogs, you have a lot of guys who are writing diaries every day. They don't like to call it diaries, this is why they call it blog. Podcasting, I think a lot of women are very self-conscious about their voice, especially. This is a typical thing as an, oh my god, I hate my voice. Video podcasting as well, so I think blog is the safest bet at the moment, but after a while, why not record what women are talking about? Just have other people listening in to have more positive examples of how this can be a benefit of you, because this is a huge benefit. I think women in itself are so much better in the game of using those tools. They understand them so much more easy than most men who just take it, for example, just for playing or just for other things. So that would be interesting to see more examples of that.
So you're more into podcasts than me, I think.
Yes.
I blog a lot, and I do a lot of video blogging, but I don't podcast. I just skipped it. I didn't have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
What's the great things about podcasts?
I'm an audio person in the sense of I like to listen to. I learn so much better when I listen to something, and there are a lot of people who just say, oh, I just want to skim the text. So the usual argument is, well, I read 200 feeds and you have your podcast. Well, guess what? I read 800 feeds.
Wow.
And I still prefer podcast, but it's more time consuming. I do write more on my blogs than I actually do my podcast, but it's a different setting. I think that's the basic part. If you could take this audio feed of this recording, and for me that would be already enough. I don't need to see a picture. It's nice to have a picture, but I don't really thrive on it. Whereas a lot of people say, I want to see somebody. I want to see somebody talk, how the facial expression is. I want to have some artsy video podcast. Some friend of mine do great podcasts as video podcasts. I just never watch them because it's not interesting for me. What's interesting to me, for example, is screencasting. I would love to see more screencasts and probably will go into doing more screencasts, but it's not video podcast in itself, so just find out what you like best and then go for it. And if it is a blog and if it is text or if it is audio, yeah, okay, embrace it and use it. I think podcasting is best for especially learning languages. Most of my English comes from listening to podcasts as well as watching American TV shows to really see how you can feel the language, because it's so much easier to learn if you hear it. It's like with a child. A child doesn't start reading text. They start by listening to their surrounding, and this is how the most natural way probably to learn a language, and this is what I took on English as well. So if you like video podcasts, you're one of those video people, go for that. But other than that, text and audio is fine as well. Take whatever you like.
Okay. Thank you.